The National Security says its study of terrorist attacks in the sub-region reveals extremists are exploiting ethnic and religious conflicts as well as anti-government sentiments. The sub-region has become a hotbed for terrorism, as out of 305 terrorist attacks recorded globally, 49 was witnessed in the region. Speaking at the Meet the Press series organized by the Information Ministry, Deputy National Security Coordinator Edward Asumening said the country has some vulnerabilities which could be exploited by these extremists. We'll bring you those details shortly, but he also adds the security apparatus is also using effective technology to track persons entering and exiting the country's borders. On a spot, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah says intelligence picked by the country's national security apparatus reveal the active involvement of some Ghanaians in terrorist attacks in the Sahel region. According to him, it has become necessary to step up education on security because of a possible recruitment of Ghanaians by extremists for terrorist activities. Addressing the media in Accra, Mr. Nkrumah said the ministry will be rolling a series of advocacy campaigns to enlighten the public to be on high alert.
Increasingly, intelligence reports suggest that some Ghanaians have been involved in terrorist attacks in the Sahelian region. What this signals is that there has been the possible recruitment of Ghanaians by some of these terrorist groups in the West African sub-region. The Ministry of National Security has authorized an increased level of awareness among the intelligence community and seeks to deepen engagement with the Ghanaian public in line with contemporary security practices. You know, in times past, they say if it's security, don't talk about it. But in line with contemporary security practices, one of the best things is to talk about it and to get everybody on board. We are therefore at this point specifically drawing the attention of persons in the Ghanaian jurisdiction to be more observant and vigilant about our security ecosystem and to draw the attention of the police, other security agencies, and local community leaders immediately they observe anything out of the ordinary. Of particular interest are non-residents seen mobilizing youth or circulating extremist material in person or virtually with the objective of whipping up sentiments to attack people or public installations. Additionally, we're encouraging persons in the Ghanaian jurisdiction to observe and be on the lookout for abandoned or suspicious packages in public places for quick attention of security persons. In the coming days, we'll also be rolling out a full campaign aimed at mobilizing and providing persons in the Ghanaian jurisdiction with more security education.
The Lands and Natural Resources Ministry says it is investigating claims that former Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, popularly referred to as John, gifted lands forming part of Achimota Forest to his relatives. A photograph of a portion of Mr. Afriyie's will went viral on social media Sunday, revealing 3 different lands said to be situated within the Achimota Forest have been distributed to some of his family members. This sparked public criticism and allegations. The actual reason for government declassifying part of the forest as a reserve was to make such allocations legal. The ministry says it takes a serious view of the matter. Let me share details of the statement with you and right on your screens. That the ministry says its attention has been drawn to documents making rounds on social media which alleges that the late former Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, had included portions of that Achimota Forest in his will and giving out same to individuals who are said to be related to him. Now, it has indicated that it is going to investigate the matter and put to rest this debate. The ministry takes a very serious view of the allegations and has requested for all documents relating to the lands in question as part of an initial inquiry to ascertain the veracity of the claims, considering that the issues that form the basis of the allegations predates the tenure of the current minister, Samuel Jinapor, MP. It is important that he is seized with the full facts to enable him take appropriate action if indeed there is any merit in the claims. Now, the ministry assures the general public and the good people of Ghana that it will ensure that the national interest is protected at all times, especially in matters pertaining to the Achimota forest. Now, head of our research desk, Raymond Aqua, has seen a copy of the 12-page will. He's in the studio with me to speak on that will. Raymond, take us through first the portions that has become, has gone viral and which has sparked this debate.
So now it's the part to do with what's related to Achimota that's been put out there. In this case, there are 4 parcels of specified and unspecified areas of land in the Achimota forest, which the late politician has actually given to specific people in that world purportedly.
Okay.
Now, on page 4 of the world, Sir John is said to have actually given part of the Achimota land, which states clearly, I give my land situated at Achimota forest in the name of Jake Pro Limited and measuring 5.541 acres to the following persons. So he names Yaramwatina Fiye, Eva Fiye, IVF, Akuya Fiye, and Elizabeth Asare Boatin. Then there's also Michael Owusu, and gives them 1 each acre, and then the 1.541 is going to Michael Owusu. On page 5 of the world, it is stated that I give my land also situated at the Achimota forest in the name of Faso Limited and measuring 0.987. And let's not forget, Jake Pro is a company different from the Faso Limited here, and that land actually measuring 0.987 acres to my nephew Michael Owusu, Jalbuedu, and nephews. There are 3, Jalbuedu and Kwabna Amwatin forever. He also mentions that on the same page that I jointly own a piece of land at Achimota Forest with Charles Owusu, and of course, I mean, many who believe in this document and its authenticity are of the opinion that this same Charles Owusu, the gentleman, was his PA at the time. So to Charles Owusu, upon my demise, my portion of the land should be given to Ruth Koko Odonko. So he owns a piece of land in the same Achimota Forest with Charles Owusu. That portion should be given to Ruth Koko Odonko. I mean, that's not all. On the same page 5, and still on the Achimota Forest, he said, I give my portion of land that jointly owned at the Achimota Forest in the name of DML Limited to Elizabeth Asare Boatin, who at the time of making this will is domiciled in the USA, and this bequeathing is done forever. The former head of the Forestry Commission also states that he owns some areas of land in the Ramsar area in Sakumono in Accra. Generally, and because you mentioned the other properties, if you put them together, it is purported in that world that there are houses, lands, KJTR market stores, gold production investments, and money in local and foreign banks as the properties to be distributed among the named persons in the world. Oh,
okay. So now, you mentioned 3 companies in that will, and those companies are supposed to be for Charles Kojo Free.
There's no reference to whether or not he owns them or not. Okay. But it's just that the land, which was perhaps registered in the name of those companies belongs to him. Okay. That's why he's distributing his shares in them. In them. Now, the ministry has been reacting to this on Facebook. What has it been saying? So the minister, as you read earlier, is actually saying that this particular arrangement and many of the sales related to it and what is in the will, which is out there, has come to the notice of the ministry. They have actually decided to investigate and get to the bottom of the matter. So the minister has asked for documents in relation to it because most of the activities happened at the time that he was not in office. Okay. Indeed, Minister Samuel Bujinapo says that it is important he sees with the full facts to enable him to take appropriate action, if any, and if there's any merit in the claims in here detailed.
Have we heard from the Forestry Commission?
Not so far.
Raymond Akwa is head of our research desk. I mean, this is something we're monitoring, and the minister give timelines as to when investigations will be ready for the public to know the next step to take. We'll be following keenly and we'll bring our viewers updates on this one. Let's move on to other stories. Following a JoyNews documentary on the illegalities on the sea by industrial fishing vessels, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development placed a ban on the activities of SECO, the transferring of fish from the industrial vessels to local fishermen at sea. The fishermen who went into SECO business are protesting why the activity should be banned, but the ministry looks on for the same fish to be sent to Tema to be sold to the general public. They want the ministry to lift the ban and take time to assess the real causes of the dwindling fish stock. Richard Kwejenyako spent some time with them.
The cycle is the byproduct or the bycatch of the industrial vessels, which will be thrown into the sea. That's we collected it as they regard it waste, and we collect this for our livelihood and make a lot of people employment.
Justice Pra lives here in Elmina, one of the busiest fishing communities in Ghana. Justice has been involved in the cycle business for years.
So we appeal today those who throw it away, the vessel owners, then they start forcing it to us. And this has created a lot of employment, rather throwing it into the sea as waste or to pollute the sea.
As the chairman of the Ghana Bycatch Association, Mr. Pratt says the business of cycle has a lot of beneficiaries, and closing it down has made life unbearable, not just for the fishing communities, but has made fish very expensive for the general public.
And for as time as today, about 10 months now, in fact, people are suffering. Taking people, even the taxi drivers, the market people, and the banks, and all over here. If government can just check in and look back for this our business, can simple make this BNI or whoever to come and investigate to know the number of people that this cycle bounding have taken them out of business.
It's not only fishermen like Justice Pra who's been badly bruised following the ban of the cycle business by the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development.
And the mom kitchen baby mukita miss come to ma what's say nyawona nanaba and ma aba muduku o business ntima me sene yidim onwunya no mabwan na amayan na dina Ghana yati na fane na why isn't
56-year-old Ifua Wantri has relied on this business for ages, and the current state of affairs worries her. She expressed shock that such a decision could be taken to knock them out of business.
Why are you fool? And say a son and Akufado. Ma Yapanitao, a man Ghana. Yes, son. Penny Biaba, saying young pa. I found million to young. Oh, say a fee. And the bushman sent at Mamma Yana. As about Wapon Wobana. Fine. Now put a woman and say you can alugum. What put him? It's a salad the man I buy him. Saying just I you consume and farm I got for your bossal. Now we to go to fun.
Beauty Deku has also been in the fishing business for more than 3 decades. She explains that even though the fishing business has had its ups and downs, the banning of cycle has made life unbearable for them.
But this year, last year, also, we did illegal fishing on Tungum on farm and ba a hanayensu and hobium. Onam da minti scan na yakaji ni nya scan no yen yakaw say say bank for dan yakaw baby a bi dan po nye kokot na yakapa chaw nti sa aban yesra aban da onyi minister nkasa na cycle no san fambra lego fish no san fambra na yen adwuma entu nkofo worker bank for worker yen ba so ebinum kovasti na ade yen scan to school fees nti yesra penyufo de onkasa na lego fish no san mbra ye wa lego fish oju kokumasi asan ya fokala kokumasi ya ka fane da ba krom ha ya ba ho ni nya atete.
So this is Elmina, one of the vibrant fishing communities in the country. Now, behind me are hundreds of canoes that have parked here. We are told that the canoes number up to about 600. But the place is becoming dormant and dormant because nothing seems to be happening here. Here used to be a very, very busy place. It is called the Psycho Market. But we've come here to see that it is virtually dead, non-existent, silent. Nothing seems to be happening because the business has been collapsed. The minister announced the collapse of the Psycho business.
Following a JoyNews documentary that highlighted how small pelagic fish are caught by the industrial vessels and a big chunk of them thrown into the sea, the ministry banned the practice where these fishermen at Apam, Elmina, and some parts of the western region meet the vessels on the sea to get the fish that would have been thrown into the sea to sell to the general public. And this is what has come to be called Psycho. This move, according to those who were in the Psycho business, has had a negative effect on their businesses and their livelihood. They state that banning what they do and diverting the fish that would have come to them to the Tema port does not solve the issue. They believe the dumping, which actually destroys the sea, continues and their source of livelihood diverted elsewhere.
The first term of president, he was here, and after the close season, he made us start the work again. But we don't see the reason why now they are saying they've banned it. But what I'm asking the fisheries minister is that, has she ever questioned those people who are saying that the Psycho fish is illegal? Psycho is not the activity we are doing, the bringing down the fish itself. Psycho is the fish itself. So if the trawlers are there fishing, taking about 10% of the fish to Tema, and those going for the fish are not working, then I don't see any reason you say that you have banned the Psycho. Because the same fish that we bring from the vessels with this is our carriers, the same fish is being boxed to Tema at a very high cost, in which when we go and then bring the fish, it is very less for even for the school feeding, for the hospitals, their canteens and everything.
For Justice Pra, the ministry should have a real look at the ban.
Rather buying imported carton fish, which is about 3 times double price than the waste product that we are buying, we are taking it here. What we normally hear is the Psycho are being disturbed by the local fishermen. Most of us working here are the local fishermen included, but we can see that this is not the problem because Psycho is not going, the local fishermen are not getting the fish. So what was the cause? Then they see there's something different as being dumping the fish. So if we are being taken as compared as human being, all the time expecting dead bodies around you, will you stay? You will never stay. So what I want to say, don't think the Psycho is evil. Psycho is a job which has helped a lot of people.
His colleague believes the ministry should listen to the fishers more than the NGOs. According to him, the NGOs are heavily sponsored by the European Union for their gains and the gains of the EU countries and not the fishermen here in Ghana.
Even take, for instance, a sardine. When you take a sardine tin, what is the size of a pelagic in a sardine? Yes, you have parceled it very nicely for us to buy. But when you come and see us I mean, having those small pelagics, then you are complaining. What I would tell the government is the government should forget about this EU people or the NGOs getting into the fishing industry, because the NGOs are on the EU's payroll. They pay them for their selfish interest. And you see, they have their small NGOs here, the Henupano and the Friends of the Nation. Go and see them. The leaders of this, the NGOs in Ghana, they have hotels and everything. That means they are using the fishing industry to chop from somewhere.
It is an interesting phenomenon playing out here. The ministry collapses all the cycle markets along the coastal communities because of the catching of small pelagic fish to save the sea from further depletion. But the fishermen say the move has not stopped anything. It's just a move that aims at taking the job away from them and sending it elsewhere to Tema. Essentially, for them, nothing has been cured, and they want the ban on them lifted. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonya, Cape Coast.
Richard Kwejonya, a man who put together this report, has joined us via Zoom with more. Kwejo, first, let's look at why the ministry placed the ban on the cycle business. What has been the explanation?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you loud
so the
and clear.
explanation is that these industrial vessels go on the sea and they are supposed to harvest the fish with some approved net size, but they don't do that, and so they end up catching the small pelagic, the small fish. The small fish would have to also grow and become bigger fishes to serve all of us. And so when they catch them, a larger chunk of it are thrown back into the sea, further poisoning the sea. And that is why the ministry said that, well, if that is going to be the case, then let's ban the cycle activity. Now, what they do is that these fishermen from Apam, Elmina, and parts of the western region used to meet them halfway on the sea, so that the fish that would have been thrown back into the sea to poison the sea, they would get them and then also prepare them to feed the consuming public. But the ministry said that, well, enough is enough. We want to save the dwindling fish stock, and so that is why they have placed a ban on them. It's been close to 10 months the ban was placed on these activities. And so if you go to the cycle markets at Apam, Elmina, all of these people are jobless now, and there is nothing really happening. But what the fisher folk are saying is that once you have placed a ban on them, why are you landing the catch at the Tema port for essentially the same kind of fish that you are preventing them from selling? And so that has been the issue we are addressing here.
But why are they protesting the ban? Are they not aware of the dangers?
Well, they are aware. They say that, well, they have been in this business for quite a while. And the fact that the ministry is failing to put some checks on the industrial vessels, even though some of these observers have been placed there, the illegalities still go on. And so rather throwing the fish into the sea to poison it, they would want to make business out of it. And so it is out of business that they are speaking in these terms.
So how do they intend to actually push government to listen to their demand?
Well, so that is why they are appealing to government that, well, it's a business that has survived them. It is what they live on. And so government should look at the necessities of the time. Things are hard, the situations are hard. And if government will ban the industrial trawlers from harvesting these small fish, they are okay. But preventing them from doing business and then sending the business to Tema for other people to sell it is what they are against. And so they want government to come again, to have a real look at what is really causing the dwindling fish stock. And they believe that it is not the cycle business, the business that we're engaging in. It is not that is affecting the dwindling fish stock. And so they want government set up an investigative committee to look into the actual causes of why we are not really getting the fish these days.
Akko is our correspondent in the Central Region. Let's now speak with Justice Pra. He's with the association. He's with the Bycatch Association. He's also the 2014 National Best Fisherman. I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Pra. First, let's look at the dangers with the cycle business.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Pra, you are live on JoyNews Desk.
Yeah. What we are talking about is concerning the bycatch of the industrial vessel. And this bycatch of the industrial vessel, this thing has been there for about 40-something years. And it has become our livelihood. Whilst we collected it, and it's used to the community for so many years. And being thrown into the sea to pollute the sea, I thought it's better for human consumption in this country. As far as the northern region, as the entire villages around the whole country. While these fish are being already processed into naked for us to send into with a blanket to even Borega, this has been helping a lot of people, about half of the population. So all of a sudden, the ministers have come out to that to bound it, and rather throwing into the sea, polluting our waters, for even the local fishermen are not catching. I thought it's something alarming. And for example, they say the cycle is disastrous to the fishing industry. So 10 months to 11 months, the cycle is not being operating. And the local fishermen are not getting fish. Then see that there's something different somewhere. There's something bigger somewhere. So what we are appealing to the president, we should look at it again. We are appealing very seriously. It has taken a lot. Already there's unemployment. And you are coming to bring about 15 million people out of job. Cycle is not a million alone. It's not a palm alone. It's example like Tamaport being taking a lot of goods from the Tamaport to other villages. So that cycle product is helping a lot. And you're saying that the industrial vessels should bring them back out to the sea. Let me tell you, I'm a real fisherman. This industrial vessel bringing the cycle product is just a low cost. So they can fill their vessels with the low cost products. So they will throw it away and bring small, presenting as they bring the waste product. But 90% of it being thrown into the sea. And one thing they say, there's no fish in Ghana water. Our old system of fishing should be changed because those industrial vessels are using modern ways to fish. And for example, just recently, the sinking of that vessel is overcatch. So, government should come down, deal with the real fishermen, real fishermen folks, because about 90% of those who are making the bycatch are the real fishermen, and those depending on bycatch are Ghanaians.
Mr. Pra, what do you intend to do to push government to resolve this issue?
I can't hear what you're saying.
I'm saying that what do you intend to do to push government to hit your demands?
Okay, first, I can say that things are not straightforward to the minister because the previous government know the use of it. So they give a roadmap for this. So what I can say, the previous minister, Afole, were about to listen to us. So she came with, argued with us to do it in a perfect way. Afole time, there's others and others. But things go on smoothly. So there's no noise. But what I can say now, the minister, if only she can understand us, so only to invite us, we explain what is good and what is not good. So we are appealing to the president to come down. As the other governments are not stopping it, the same thing this government have to do, because you are dealing with human life and a lot of people are dying.
I'm grateful for your time. Justice Pra is with the Bycatch Association, and he says government must listen to their plea and lift the ban on the cycle business. We'll take a break on Joy News Desk. When we return, there is more. Welcome back to News Desk. To the rest of our stories. Last Saturday's heavy downpour has once more rendered parts of the national capital, Accra, and its immediate environs flooded. The situation has not ceased as more properties and lives get lost each year. Speaking on the probe over the weekend, a drainage engineer from Garrett Project, Kwejo Kilson, blamed the situation on indiscriminate disposal of rubbish, saying strategies implemented over the years has not yielded the required results. He suggests reinforcement of flooding policies and proper disposal of waste as possible solutions to curb the problem.
A consequence of a natural occurrence, that's rain. We can't prevent rainfall. At best, we try and it's what we call flood risk mitigation.
But it just doesn't rain in Accra. It rains everywhere.
Yes, so it's definitely going to rain. The meteo agencies are going to predict. We, the engineers, can also predict where there will be a lot of damage. For example, in Accra, there are the usual sources: Kanishi, Runabout, Circle. Then when you go to our western side, you have the Wager stretch. We know where the problems exist.
But it appears that yesterday there were areas that usually they don't experience flooding, but they enter the books.
Yes, that means the interventions we are putting in place are not having that long-lasting effect. And so, for example, when we talk about solid waste disposal into drains, we are seeing more people selling by the roadsides. Yes, places where they were free from hawkers now have hawkers. So we are still creating the condition that cause blockages. Already we are challenged. We don't have a lot of funds to expand our drains. The drains we have, which have a large extent outlived their purpose, are being choked. And we have a lot of underground drains. It's very difficult to desilt underground drains. And usually because they are covered, we don't know how much blockage. It's only when they are flooding that we came to realize that those drains are blocked. Yes, so that's one of the practical problems we have here, that we are encouraging, or maybe people are not obeying laws or I don't want to talk about enforcement and people not obeying. There's enforcement bit, and for us, as citizens of Ghana, as we are citizens, we have to have appropriate waste disposal practices.
Okay.
Yes. So if we continue disposing of waste in the drains, they are covered. We will not know, but when the flood waters come, the water will flood upon the area, and we'll see the consequences of our poor solid waste practices.
Engineer Kilson also says decongesting highly populated areas is another option to solving the problem.
Kanishi market stretch. Yes, we've reached a place where the engineering interventions have reached its limits.
What do you mean?
Means the place is heavily built up. There's lack of green areas that will cause water to infiltrate. We have a market, high density of people. We have a market. We have a lorry station. So if you are not prepared to decongest, to allow water to percolate the ground, the next drastic action is to then move people, evacuate people, or stop traffic on that road when there's flood. In that we are getting people out of harm's way. That's the alternative.
Okay.
Because the measures, for example, when we decide to relocate the market, we have to compensate a lot of people. That money could have been used to expand some green somewhere. So that's the way to face now. The place is heavily congested, a high density of people. High density of people means a lot of waste. Covered drains, blocked. We don't know the severity of blockage. Only when the flood is occurred, we realize that these drains are blocked.
We're still live on Joy News Desk. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you the latest from business.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Beverly Broom. The National Lottery Authority has given legal backing to about 18 private lotto operators, popularly known as banker-to-banker lottery operations across the country. This comes after the Director General of the NLA, Sami Ewuku, and the board held a crunch meeting to consider the issuance of licenses to the banker-to-banker operators and also allow them to operate without fear of intimidation and harassment from the police.
Management of the National Lottery Authority, including the Director General Sami Ewuku and some private lottery operators, popularly known as banker-to-banker lottery operations, at a crunch meeting, perused the license to ensure both parties are satisfied with the provisions in the document. After hours of interrogations and queries and subsequent response from the management of NLA, the banker-to-banker operators were satisfied with the document. The license were then issued to about 18 companies, including Accra Bedinti Limited, Zagdo Company Limited, among others. The Director General of NLA, Sami Ewuku, who is confident of the credibility of these operators, observed that the move to license them will sanitize the lottery industry in Ghana.
It is the first major step towards sanitizing the lottery industry in Ghana. We have in excess of over 300 entities operating illegally. 120 started the process of joining us to be regularized. After going through this elaborate process, rigorous and vigorous process, we have 18 people we can certify and license them on this day of our Lord, where the license has been issued. Because they started the process beginning of the year, the license is from January to December and then 31st. The NLA is pleased to inform the general public that these are people we can vouch for. These are people we can do business with. And then there are two licenses issued today. One is the 722, which is the original game of the NLA, per the Act 722. The NLA also did get its franchise from the military. That's the Veterans Administration Ghana. And so that's the Act 844, which establishes the Veterans Administration Ghana. And then we can confidently say that today we have also licensed 4 companies to also operate under the 844 to boost the revenue base of the NLA and for us to be able to support our military colleagues.
Reacting to concerns of the over 200 companies who failed to meet the criteria necessary for the issuance of their licenses, Mr. Ewuku warned against operating illegally.
Beginning next week, where the NLA will also enforce the provisions in the Act 722 and also Act 844. So if you are operating illegally, you are not supposed to operate. The task force will be on the lookout, will confiscate equipment and items, and then we also hand you over to the police. We'll be having a joint exercise between the NLA and the security agencies. Some have already been arrested, some are standing trial, some have been prosecuted, some have been fined and jailed. So it's a process which will continue unabated till we're able to sanitize the system accordingly.
Meanwhile, Board Chairman of NLA, Francis Albert Nyonyo, is confident the licensing of these companies will aid the authority create employment opportunities for the youth.
It's going to increase our revenue, and then we're also going to employ more people, and then we're also going to build our legacy, the goodwill and infrastructure which are lying down undeveloped. So it's going to help us to generate revenue and also create a job opportunity for many people. And now it's now legalized industry where you don't see, if you are not licensed by NLA, then it means you are operating illegally. So we must take an action to prosecute you or put you before court so that more revenue will rake in, more the state is comfortable.
CEO of Wulaki Company Limited, Kofi Ananiye, and owner of Accurate Giant Limited, Alex Kofi Hansen, who were excited about the issuance of the license, indicated that the certification will boost their revenue generation.
I think it's long overdue. It's now in the right direction, and I think it's now going to allow us to transparently operate, and for customers and for enthusiasts to know that these are genuine and legal companies that they can work with. And it's really going to impact on the bottom line, which is margins and the fortunes of the company. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. In the past, we've all been trying to operate in the space, but because we didn't have the license and we didn't have the authorities backing, we couldn't come out to operate as we wanted to.
We have been waited this license a while, but we are glad to see this license. So we are going to use it well.
Away from that, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is expected to announce its decision on the policy rate today after assessing the economy. The committee has been concerned about the threats of rising inflation on the economy. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, has said the committee will take decisive measures to tame the rising inflation. We'll update you more in our subsequent bulletins. That's how we end business now, but we have more business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is sports.
Time now for sports. Lawrence Fedo is here with the updates. It's all about the Ghana Premier League. Hearts, we know it's out for the time being because of what has broken in their camp, the disease, and the Ghana Health Service is asking them to put on hold their activities, right? So now we have what?
Over the weekend, there were games that happened over the weekend, but then as we know from midweek, Hearts of Oak pleaded with the GFA to postpone their games. Okay. The GFA didn't hit to that service, to that plea. Over the weekend, they were expected to play a game, but then the Ghana Health Service had to come to their rescue and then tell the GFA to hold, to allow Hearts of Oak hold on to their games for now because the illness looks to be a serious issue in camp. But then in other games, Kotoko seemed to be blowing away a huge gap to cement their league triumph because they lost to Bekum Chelsea at the Barbara Sports Stadium.
I guess they're happy Hearts. They've been asked to hold on.
Hearts will definitely play their games, but then for a team like Kotoko who are looking to wrap up the league title quite early, one win in the last 5 games doesn't sound good. Okay. Especially with the kind of performance Mediama are putting up. Yep. Mediama came to Accra on Saturday and then he beat Accra Great Olympics at the Accra Sports Stadium. So it tells you the funny thing about this whole title race is that Kotoko's next game is against Mediama. Okay. And there's 6 points separating these two sides. Mediama have been good. They have been, should I say, they've been better than most of the teams in the last games they've played because from 5th, 4th, 3rd, and now 2nd, with just 6 points behind Kotoko, they could be a good challenger for Kotoko aside Bechem United because Bechem United were so relaxed at the 2nd position at some point. Their head coach had to say no one could move them from 2nd, but now they are 3rd, and it's Bidiama who occupy the 2nd position on the league log.
So it's now between Kotoko
and Mediama.
Yeah. And let's look at the previous games. How have they performed?
Kotoko, I think Kotoko triumphed over Mediama in the reverse fixture they played. Mediama are not a bad side, but then in the current performance, looking at the current performance of both teams, Mediama have been the better side. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Kotoko have won just 1 game in their last 5 matches. It doesn't sound good. Prosper, who is the head coach of Kotoko, complained over the weekend. He said the players need to gather courage, gather confidence, and then come back. Because you can't be playing like this at the Barbara Sports Stadium when you have the supporters all behind you. Some weeks back, we all think Kotoko have wrapped up the league title because they had a 9-point lead over Bechem United. But Mediama are proven to be the big deal for Kotoko at the moment and could be a terrible one for Prosper should things get out of hand. And
so let's look at the upcoming games. We know Hearts Hearts is out for
they are
now.
Not out. They are on hold.
They are on hold.
So
But how do they even feel about this whole thing?
Aisha, if you are Hearts, it could be, should I say, an advantage for you, because if I'm not sure it will happen, but then should Kotoko play more games closer to the season than what has have at the moment, or should Kotoko drop points? All Hearts will need is to win all their games available, and then try and give themselves a shot at the Premier League title. So it's not, I won't say it's all over, because with the kind of performance Kotoko are putting out there, it doesn't look so good. Okay. And then for the number of games remaining, we have 4 games more. Kotoko has 5 because their game against Ashgood was postponed due to Ashgood. They were demonstrating after being demoted to Division 2 as part of the match fixing scandal. So it's a tough one for her. So Ashanti Gold, if they are to play home. So the GFA decided no, for security reasons, we have to postpone that game. So Kotoko have 5 games more. More of the teams have 4 more games to go.
When is the next game?
I think there's no midweek fixtures. They are playing next weekend.
Okay. Lawrence Bedo with that update. I'm not happy that they've asked Hearts of Oak to hold on, but it could be an advantage to their advantage. So yes, of course, the Masters, we know what they are bringing on board. That will be it for sports. Lawrence Bedo brought us that, and that will be it for News Desk. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You have updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.